Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nanny News. It's your host, Ashley, aka Nanny Announcements. And for the month of May, y'all are in for a treat. We sat down with 5 extraordinary nannies and allowed them to share their story. And tonight's episode is our first nanny interview. And who is it, you may ask? Courtney. Courtney is a woman who tends to leave her mark on this world. She has dedicated more than half of her life to serving children and their families. She goes by everything_Courtney on social media. And y'all are not gonna want to miss this. So sit back, relax, and let's get it. Before we get started with our juicy interview, we got to talk about our sponsorship for this week. It's one of our favorites, as always. This week's sponsorship is A Different World. A Different World is a conversation between 4 Black nannies about their experience of being a Black nanny in America. These conversations are conversations that we don't like to talk about, but we have to and we need to. And these 4 ladies stepped up to the plate to have these conversations. The last 2 episodes have been very juicy, y'all. They have hit and talked about subjects that if you're a Black nanny, you know exactly what they're talking about. And if you're a white nanny, then you can learn from this and learn how to incorporate these conversations into your daily life as being a nanny, but also just being a human being. These 4 nannies have come together to do this, and it's been impactful and amazing. The 4 nannies are Courtney, which you're about to see next in this interview, Amber, Cammie, and Lwando. If you know those 4 nannies, then you know that these nannies are bringing the heat. These conversations are so juicy, y'all do not want to miss out. Their next conversation and their episodes are airing. They're still determining on what is the best schedule for this conversations. They want these conversations to be very impactful and meaningful and be able to hit as many nannies as possible. So they're trying to figure out what is the best schedule for that as it is. But in the meantime, y'all can go watch those 2 other episodes that they have out because they are something that you need to watch. I know their next episode coming out, which we don't know the date exactly just yet, but they're going to be talking about racism, white privilege, and what that even means, because some of y'all don't know what that means. So y'all do not want to miss out. These things are they're so amazing and just so juicy, y'all, just so juicy. So we are very excited to hear more about this. You're going to hear a little bit more about this in our interview with Courtney because she brings it up. She talks about it, why she started this conversation. But honestly, this is something that we need in our industry. And I'm just so happy that these 4 girls have stepped up to the plate to take on this challenge. And thank you all for supporting Nanny News. We support y'all. We have your back after all your conversations, because I know that it's heat. It's very heated conversations, but just know that your girl Nanny Announcements got your back. So y'all go check out A Different World. I will put all of their Instagram information in the description box below. All 4 of them have posted and have the episodes on their page. So please go check them out and keep your eyes out for the next episode. We will announce it on our page when we have the date. So keep an eye out for that. Now, we can get to this interview. We're about to sit down with Courtney, which is one of the 4 nannies that are in this conversation going on. Courtney's story is truly amazing. She's a mom, but also a dope career nanny. Let's find out more. Let's go.
right, guys. So we are sitting down with Miss Courtney. I'm so excited to sit down with you and get to know your nanny story, your nanny journey, and get to share to everybody out here in this world what your story, because I know you have
Yeah.
somewhere. So we're gonna kind of start off with like introducing yourself, where you're from, how long you've been a nanny, and go from there. So
All
I'll
right.
let you.
Well, yeah, well, first of all, Ashley, thank you so much for having me. I'm like
Yeah.
so honored to be here on Nanny News. I am a fan. Um, so yeah, my name is Courtney Jones. I am a career nanny of 10 years now, 10 plus years. I'm still working out the plus. I'm like, it might be 11, it might be 12. I don't know, but I know it's been more than 10 years, but we'll say 10 plus. Um, I started out nannying kind of on a whim. I was working as a preschool teacher and I was thriving there. I was really loving it. But I noticed we had this family there, like a single mom that needed support. And I kind of felt drawn to her. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I can help out. So I started nannying for her part time. And yeah,
Here
the
we
rest is
are.
kind of here we
Almost
are.
10 years later.
10 years later. Yeah.
I mean, that's so cool. So that's kind of like your moment that clicked in your head. So when you started working with her, is it kind of like you just fell in love being a nanny, or just, yeah, like you just knew, or was it like the pay was nicer? So you're like, all right, let me stay here, or is it just because you knew that you're making more of an impact kind of being the nanny than you were as a preschool teacher?
So truthfully, it's a mixture of all things. As a preschool teacher, I loved it. I was thriving, but I had so much responsibility and I just didn't feel very fulfilled.
Yeah,
And then I started nannying for her part time. I was making extra income, which was really nice. I'm like, hold on, like this is really great.
you're
And
right.
I had freedom. Like I was working for her just in the evenings, like 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I was like in my early 20s then. So having the whole day almost to myself was awesome. And what ended up happening is I was presented with the opportunity to work as a full time nanny for someone and move out of state, work as a full time nanny. And it was just like the change in life that I really was looking for. And it was a no brainer. Like at that moment,
Yeah.
I was like, I can do this. This would be great. Like it was more money. I was moving to another state. I had so many opportunities. I had more freedom. And I was like, this is a no brainer. I'm going to go for it. And I did. And I loved it. Like at that moment when I started working for them, I was like, I don't know how I could do this for the rest of my life, but if I could figure out a way to, I'm going to. Like it
Going.
was that much fun.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's so sweet. That's a good way to start in this industry. Having a good experience like that, it just makes you fall in love like that, because that's kind of how I was too.
Hmm.
What part are you from? Like, where are you nannying at right now? Like, where are you from?
Oh,
I guess living from.
okay. Well, I'm originally from New York. I'm a first generation American.
Okay.
And yeah, and I moved to New Jersey. So I'm now nannying in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area.
Okay. So Jersey side. Okay, that's
Hmm.
East Coast.
Yes, yes,
That's
very,
cool.
very East Coast.
Have you had most of your experience, have you moved anywhere else on the East Coast besides just in New Jersey, or have you
Yeah,
just been more in the Jersey area?
yeah. So like I said earlier, I originally lived in
Mm-hmm.
New York. So I lived
Mm-hmm.
in Brooklyn. I did nanny in Brooklyn briefly. It's a totally different world nannying there.
I'm sure.
Um, yeah, it was very, very different, very busy. But I nannied in Brooklyn for a little bit. And then I moved to Pennsylvania in like the Lehigh Valley area. And that's why I initially started off my nanny journey. And then I moved to South Jersey, started nannying in South Jersey. Then I moved to Philadelphia, started nannying in Philadelphia. But truthfully, I'm like 20 minutes away from the city. So
City.
yeah, but I've nannied in New York, Philadelphia,
Okay.
well, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey.
Okay. All right. That's cool. So East Coast side. So what does your daily schedule slash week look like, if you can share anything like that?
Yeah. So my daily schedule right now, I've picked on a little bit of extra work. So I support multiple families, multiple age groups.
Okay.
So yeah, I work 2 days. I work 2 days of the week with one family, then another 2 to 3 days a week with another. I my days are typically like a good, I'd say like 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So
Okay.
I do have longer working days than I'm used to, but I do enjoy it. And then after work, I'm a mom. So like as soon as I get home, it's like extracurricular activities, one-on-one time, and all that good stuff.
So yeah, you have a busy schedule. You're a busy person.
Yes,
I
yes,
like the
very busy.
I like how you work with two different families. I did a schedule like that one time, and it definitely helps with the kind of just breaking up you don't get, I guess, annoyed or burned out or kind of annoyed with the like working with one family all the time, 5 days a week, can be kind of, I don't know. It's just like I like the different. I'm a change. I like change, so I like how you like
Yeah,
breaks up. So I like
yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
I hear you on that. Like working with one family 5 days a week can get a little bit like monotonous, or you're just kind of like doing the same thing. But when you break it
Repetitive.
up, yes,
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
repetitive.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not necessarily in a bad way, but working with two families, I find helps to prevent burnout. It's something different. I work with different age groups. I'm also able to recycle some of the things that I do. So whatever lesson plans I have, I'm able to recycle and just kind of tailor it for that age group, which makes it more fun for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
No, I feel like that. See, that's kind of how that's what me too. Like I need to get back in that schedule. I'm working with one. I used to, for my first like 3 years of nanny, were just two different families every other day. And this is like for my first like kind of few years where I'm with one family. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that schedule. I like your schedule. I like the
yeah,
two different
yeah.
families. So another question is, what is your family? Do you have a funny nanny story or any, if you can share anything that has happened to you that has been funny? Because we know we have some stuff.
Yeah. There's a ton of funny stories when you nanny, especially because we work really intimately with families. So like
Okay.
we learn sometimes
Okay.
about their personal life, maybe a little bit more
Okay.
than we want to know, and we're like,
Okay.
"Mm."
Okay. I
So I had to
know.
really think. I had to think about this one. So without throwing anyone under the bus or exposing anyone's family business, I'll share a funny story that really focuses more on me. So, when my first year when I moved here and I started nannying full time, I had a little kiddo. I was nannying actually for two families at this point, and the little kiddo, for whatever reason, had some type of like bodily fluid situation. I don't know. I can't remember what fluid it was, but it was a lot of it. I mean, a lot of it. Like it was in my hair. It was all over my clothes. It was on my pants. And at that time, I worked from like 7:30 to 7:30, and
Ooh.
it was like 12 o'clock when this happened, like right before nap time. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Like,
Whatever.
I was
Cover.
covered, covered. And so I remember I'm like, okay, I have like this rule that I do not go in my nanny clients' bedrooms. That's just a place that I don't want to be, never want to be in. So I'm like, what do I do? So I'm like, all right, well, I took off my clothes. I found like a towel or a sheet, wrapped myself up in it, threw my clothes in their washer machine, washed their clothes in the washing machine. And thankfully it was nap time. So I was able to like wash, dry my clothes. I was able to take a shower, wash my hair. And then I was just sitting on their sofa, like wrapped up in a blanket. Like, I hope they don't have nanny cams. I hope they don't have nanny cams. I hope they don't have nanny cams. Like, I just kept thinking that because they're probably like, why is the nanny half naked on the sofa?
Right.
And so, and then like I remember I was able to get my clothes out the dryer. They were like semi damp when I put them on, but I'm like, I can't have the kids wake up and I'm half
Naked.
naked on this
Naked.
sofa.
Right.
And so like I remember like, yeah, I just remember like going with them to the park so my clothes can finish drying and just being like, wow, I have to remember to one, pack a set of extra clothes in
Okay.
my car all times, and I actually carry two. And
Okay.
and number two, ask your clients if they have a nanny cam. And it's not for like any, you know, malicious reason. Like, I just need to know whether or not I could sit on the sofa half naked if I
Just in
need to,
case, right? Basically,
just
in
in
case
case.
something happens.
Yeah.
That is
So
hilarious. That That
That
is
really
so
happened.
funny. Like, yeah, I've had that happen to me before. That's hilarious, though. I'm glad you were able to get yourself washed, like yourself dried and washed before. Like, it would have been even worse if one of home. Like,
Oh my gosh. If
oh,
someone came, like, I was so nervous. Like, I just remember like sitting on the couch, just like, oh my gosh, like, Lord help me. Like,
please, like,
please don't
right,
let
like,
anyone come.
please, please.
Yes, don't let anyone come home. And truthfully, I remember that this family had like very little like window treatments for whatever reason. So like their house was very exposed. You could see right in and like no one walked by because it was like a very small like yeah, yeah, it was a lot.
It was a
It
mess.
was a lot. It was a lot.
That is
Yeah.
hilarious, though. I'm glad you. There was no nanny cams, was there, at the end of
No,
it? No,
no,
thank
no.
God. Okay,
And
good.
just because like I'm always transparent when I work, I like just told them I was like, hey, little Joey just so happened to cover me in
I wouldn't
bodily
say this.
secretion. Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah.
yeah, just in case if there was a nanny cam, I'm like, look, you know
I'm
why I was
sorry.
sitting on your couch. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, I would have done the same thing, like, just in case, and just give them humor. Like, your son, I would have
Yeah,
made it funny. Like, your son decided to let
basically.
go of his bottle out of his stomach today, all over me.
Yep.
So
Basically.
that's
And
hilarious.
I'm pretty sure I probably led with something like, yeah, well, spit happens.
Right.
Like some type of like weird joke like that just to make it a little bit better.
That's me too. I always just, like, try to get that little humor in. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
hilarious. It happens. So how did you find the family you're working with right now? Are you a freelance? Did you go agencies? What you like to do?
So, fun fact about me, I've never worked with a nanny agency.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a really cool fact, though, as a
Yeah,
nanny.
and
Like,
I truthfully like you don't know what you don't know. And at the time I didn't know that nanny industries existed. And when I did learn about nanny agencies, I was just doing so well with just word of mouth
right.
recommendations. Like a lot of my
Yeah.
nanny families now, they find me. Like the one
Okay.
family that I have, yeah, the one family I have now, they found me. And
Okay.
yeah, they knew right away that they wanted to work with me. There was no if, ands,
That's
or buts about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what's up. That's so cool. So
Yeah.
did they find you through, like, is it like, are they finding through cares or like sitters? Or are you just kind of like on the social, like, local community
Yeah.
pages, or just like word of mouth? Like, they had a
I'm
friend and
pretty
knew you.
sure they found me through care. I'm pretty sure that
Okay.
they found me through care. But I remember when I interviewed with them, it was like it was
You,
probably like the best interview that I've ever gone on. Because it's like, hey, what do you need? What do
yeah,
you want?
no. Oh, that's the best ones. Yeah, I love,
Yeah.
yeah, that's seriously the best ones. Yeah, what do you need? Everything. So here we go. I have a whole list of
Yeah.
for you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Oh, that's really cool, though. I mean,
Yes.
that's really cool that you haven't gone the agency route. Like, that makes your journey a little, different and unique, because the agency route is a different path than, obviously, than going freelance. Because I've gone a couple, yeah. So that's really cool. That's really cool fact. So what are some things you have coming up for yourself as a nanny? Or if you don't have anything as a nanny coming up, what do you have some things planning for your nanny kids? Because I know summertime's coming up too, but I know you got something planned up coming up. So let us know,
Yes,
girl.
yes, yes, yes. I have a lot going on. So, I'll start with what I have planned for my nanny kids. I've made some really big changes with how I show up at work. Trying to find different ways to um, make the lessons and activities that I have for the children work for multiple age groups and also work for my kiddo. Because, like I said, I'm a mom.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like testing out some of my new activities on her and then bringing them to work. So I have a lot of fun themes that we're going to be working on this summer. I try to do different things. So, we have the typical these themes that we like to stick to, like it's spring, so we'll usually do like farm animals and Easter, but I'm very much so child led. So like, hey, you like helicopters? Like let's do a week on helicopters, like challenge me in
Right.
that way. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying that, like taking the kids' interest and, applying it and then trying it with other kiddos as well. So that's been a lot of fun. I have a lot of great like collaborations and partnerships that I'm working on that I can't spill all the details on just
As
yet. But yeah, if you are out there, follow me on my Instagram. You'll like I'll keep you posted as they start to happen. It's gonna be a really fun summer. Like I told myself that this year was gonna be a year to remember, and so far so good. Like it's really shaping out that way. Um Also I am working on a project called A Different World with
Okay.
NYC Nanny Saurus, with Nanny
Hey.
Cam and A Nanny's Life. And we talk
Okay.
about we talk about our unique perspectives as nannying as women of color. So that airs like once or twice a month right now. We're still kind of figuring that out, but we do have an episode coming out this Thursday, and there'll probably be one or two dropping when this episode that we're having here releases. So that's a really
Yeah.
good project to look out for.
No, yeah, that one is a really good one, guys, because I the first one I watched was so good. I loved it. Just like hearing everybody's story, like I'm like, oh, I could connect with you guys so much because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I know exactly like how some of you guys feel and some of the Trump. Like it's, I'm excited to see more, to get more and hear
Yes,
more because I know it's gonna be juicy.
yeah, I'm so excited. Yes, it will definitely be juicy. I mean, it's a really great conversation because we're four different women with four different perspectives and views, and our experiences
Exactly.
couldn't be more different, but it's pretty awesome.
Right, like your guys' experiences are so different, and like just hearing everyone, I didn't even know half of people's like background in their story. Like that's, I mean, that's why I was like, it kind of drawn me to just sit down with like these nannies. I'm like, I need to connect with more nannies and like sit down with them and really get to know their story. Because I'm like, man, we out here doing the thing. Like
We are out here
it's
doing it. We are the
just
unsung heroes, okay? We are out
okay,
here
like
doing it. We are raising the future leaders. We are raising the future doctors, the future teachers. We
okay.
don't know who we're raising, but we are raising the future. So we have big work, big shoes. And with like those big shoes that we have and this big work, we have to be big and bold in what we do. We have to stand in our truth. We have to do it proudly. Like we have so much work to do, but we are
I love
killing it. Like
that.
there's so many nannies out here and we are doing it.
Aren't we? I just love that. We are just doing it. You've made such a good comment. That's such a good one. So what's your favorite thing about being a nanny? What do you love so much about what draws you to it? I'm sure you probably already
So,
said it, but
yeah,
like,
in truth, my favorite thing about being a nanny is really the parents. Sounds funny.
that's interesting.
Honestly, when I say it, it kind of sounds funny to me because as a preschool teacher, the parents are probably my least favorite part of the job.
Okay.
Least
Okay.
favorite part of the job. But as a nanny, the parents are my favorite part of the job. Like, I love watching different families. I love watching how they live. I love learning about if they have a different religion or belief system from me. I like learning about that. As a nanny, I've got to work with a family that was like Mormon. I got to pray with them and learn about, their temple and what it is that they do. And it was beautiful, like learning
Right.
about their family values, as well as a lot of times as a nanny, we're working for professional families and just kind of experiencing what they go through a little bit, just kind of getting a backseat view of their life. Like it's amazing. I've watched families build multi-million dollar companies from the ground up and still show up for their children. I've watched, families go through med school. I've watched families go through divorce. I've watched how they've navigated like life's tough situations. I've celebrated their wins with them. Like the parents are really the reason why I do it because I'm just like, you're dope. Like, I want to be like you when I grow up. Like, wow. And every time I like go to a new family and I get to work with them, I'm just even more blown away about who they are and like what they do. And I love it. Like the parents, hands down, parents.
That's cool. Honestly, you're one of the first people that's ever really said that. And like, I mean, it kind of, you're right. Like, it is a lot of like, that is true. Like, the parents, I mean, we make an impact on just not only the children's lives, but just those families, like those parents, and just watching. Like, you're right. Like, I'm indie, like, especially when I'm working with higher profile families that, are in what I would love to, living the lifestyle that I would love to live. So I've That's really cool. Like I envy parents.
Yeah.
I envy them too. Like I think that's really cool because a lot of us say that the a lot of our problems in our jobs can come from the parents and learning how to adapt to parents' lifestyles. And it's true though, but but also we get to work so closely with each other. So
Yeah,
that's really
like
cool.
we work so intimately with them, and like we
I
support them
mean,
as they go through their life by taking care of their most prized possession, their kids. Like we take care and nurture their children while they continue to go throughout their life. And as a parent, I can understand even more how much of a responsibility that is and how trusting they have to be in order to do that. So I'm just, yeah, they're dope.
yep. They're dope. I love
They're
it.
dope. That's
They're
dope.
dope. All right, this is our last question. If you could go back and tell yourself when you first started nannying, what would you tell yourself? Since you're 10 years in now, what would you have told yourself when you first got in a nanny, or even somebody that is wanting to become a nanny?
If you're, I'll start with the second part of your question. If
I
you
know
are
that's
someone, that's the easy one, right?
all right.
If you're looking to become a nanny, I would say find yourself a mentor. Find yourself someone that you can shadow and get to know. Find yourself a couple of mentors and see, because there's so many different ways to nanny. There's so many different types of nannies. So find a mentor, shadow, read, learn about different parenting philosophies, find out what really works for you, what it is that resonates with you. Take your time with that. Um, if I could go back to, 10 years ago and speak to little Courtney that was nannying back then, I would say slow down a little bit because I was just so in it. Like I was working like the 12, 16 hour days. And, you
Yeah.
know, I would tell myself slow down a little bit. I would tell myself to set some boundaries because I was very green at the time and didn't have many boundaries. So that would be definitely one that I would throw out there. But I'd also just, tell myself to relish these moments and enjoy it some more because as a parent, I'm seeing how these nanny families have impacted me. I'm seeing the experiences that I've had with them show up as a parent. And so I wish I slowed down a little bit to really enjoy it so that when I'm experiencing some of these things again, but as a mother, I could enjoy it even more.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's a good advice. Oh, well, Courtney, we are so thankful for you to sit down with us and get to know you. Like we finally got to meet you and talk to you because I feel like I've been seeing you on social media and like I'm like I got to sit down with her. Like I know we were going to connect, and so I'm glad that you decided to sit with us and you're our first nanny for our interviews for our show, guys. So
Yay!
the next 4 episodes are going to be just like this where we sit down with nannies and get to hear their nanny story. I want you guys to go follow though Miss Courtney at everything_Courtney. That's with 2 E's, y'all, with 2 E's. So don't forget
That's right.
everything
Oh,
underscore Courtney.
how amazing was that? Courtney is seriously one of the sweetest persons I've ever met. And y'all, I haven't even met her in person yet. Like, we've literally just only been communicating over like social medias and Zoom. I haven't even met her in person yet, but I can feel her energy through the phone and through the Zoom interview. And I know y'all felt that energy too. She pushes you, she encourages you, and has this sweet, just soft tone to her voice that just makes you feel like, all right, thank you, girl. Thank you. So, Courtney, as you said, it was an honor for us to sit down with you, to sit down with us. It's been an honor. I mean, a beyond honor to sit down with you and actually get to hear your story and really get to know you a little bit more. I hope that you guys enjoyed this interview as much as we enjoy doing this. Next week's interview is just as juicy. Stay tuned to see who we got up for store next. Hope you guys all have a great weekend. We'll see you on our mentioned episode this Monday. And of course, the nanny interview will be on Friday. Love y'all. Have a great week.